Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. We hope you're having a great morning. Thanks for being in here early. CID, Brian Grebbins, Dan Cummins, Moshi, Bradley Jacobs, Japan. Appreciate you being in here. Appreciate you hitting the like button. And hopefully you appreciate us with a winning record yesterday. We go 4-2, so we make a little bit of money. Sportsline pick doesn't come through, but otherwise, pretty good results from everybody. My first 5 under comes in spite of the fact that Marte can't catch a ball going right to him. So we'll cash all of those tickets. I'll point out the network show yesterday. Larry Hartstein, the maestro, did it again, hit a home run prop at plus 600. That guy is on fire. We have another network show tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Do not forget, get in front of a TV or an iPad if that's how you watch this content. CBS Sports Network tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's an hour of the Early Edge. We'll cover it all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough from me. Let's bring in the stars of the show. It's a Wednesday, so we've got the guru, Martin Green. We've got Propstarz, and there he is. There's the Sniper. Sniper, how you doing today, friend?
I'm very good. You know, it wasn't on the board, but I hit the Chris Sale over 6.5 strikeouts last night. And I believe as you hit the Diamondbacks Braves under first that's 5 right. On that as well. So we feasted on the Chris Sale, Zach Gallen matchup.
That's right. That was some picks that were given out on the network show, actually. And Propstarz, you were on that network show. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, did you on the network show? We had a Gallen play. Did he make it? Honestly, I'm not even 100% sure.
No, he did not make it.
Yeah, so the splits, the home splits didn't really come through as far as Zach Gallen is concerned. But again, 4-2 recap screen, we'll take that. Martin Green, how are you? We've got Copa America and Euro 2024. Couple picks in those realms today, correct?
That's correct, Sia. I'm doing great, thanks. Yeah, we had Spain beat France in the semi-finals of the Euro 2024 yesterday, and Argentina beat Canada quite comfortably. So the teams playing today are going to decide who faces them in the final.
All right, sounds good. Snug the Cat is super excited to see you, Guru. And speaking of Snug the Cat, we had a conversation yesterday, Martin. You weren't here with us on the 10 o'clock Early Edge. Cats, are we pro cats or are we con cats? Don't offend your friend Snug the Cat, but I do want the truth, only the truth, and nothing but the truth.
I'm very pro Snug the Cat, but I'm allergic to furry cats that walk around on 4 legs. So I'm afraid to say I'm not a cat person.
Oh, wow. Well, actually, that's a really good excuse. Nice way to get out of that one. Allergic. You can always play that card. Sean Betty says, I subscribe to Sportsline, I'm assuming, just to get a hello from Sia. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that along with hitting the like button. And you might want to hit the notification button too, so that when our NFL and college football content, our special shows come out, because you know when this show's on every day at 10, some of those special shows, you're going to want your notifications turned on, or you're at least going to be wanting to follow the Sportsline account on Twitter, and all of us, Propstarz, Sniper, Martin Green, and myself. Big Cheesy says San Francisco money line. Somebody else said, I expect, as Brandon Silva, I expect the O's bats to get off the mat today. I expect that as well. But let's get to soccer first. Martin, I teased it. We got Copa America. We got Euro 2024. These things coming down the stretch here. Not many games left. Talk to us about 2 picks you have.
Yeah, just a couple of games left in both tournaments. So I've got picks on both of the games taking place today, starting with the Euro matchup, because that's taking place in just a few hours. I'm going to go for both teams to score at odds of plus 105. That bet has paid off in both of England's last 2 matches, and I really think the trend should continue against the Netherlands today. The Dutch do have some of the world's best defenders on their roster, but they're conceding a goal per game on average so far at this tournament, and I think they could struggle to contain the likes of Harry Kane and Bukayo Saka and Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham for 90 minutes. However, they do look very dangerous in attack. Gakpo's in fine form right now, so I think they should also find the back of the net. And plus money on both teams to score looks very appealing, particularly after what we saw in the Spain versus France game yesterday. And I'm going for the exact same bet in the Copa America semi-final. Both teams to score, identical odds of plus 105. Should be another entertaining game between 2 very impressive, dangerous teams. as I mentioned on the network yesterday, Colombia are on a 27-game winning streak. They beat Panama 5-0 in the last round, and they've scored in each of their last 12 games. So they're going from strength to strength in attack, and I expect them to score in this one. However, they're probably going to struggle to contain Uruguay's forwards, such as Darwin Núñez, Federico Valverde. The last game between these teams was a 2-2 draw, which was in October last year. Very entertaining game, and I think we could see a repeat of that today. So I've got odds of plus 105 on both teams to score between Colombia and Uruguay.
All right. And I know Buckets is big on Uruguay as well, or at least has been this entire tournament. So that should be an interesting game. You know what else is interesting before I get to the SportsLine pick, which is in Major League Baseball. And I do want to bounce something off you, Sniper, when I give out this Red Sox play, because we had a Red Sox future yesterday on the network show. Somebody asked, I mean, this is like superhero stuff, because Mike McClure's been traveling, and you know he'll be back tomorrow, I believe, on this show and on the network show as well. And somebody asked, "Hey, where's Mike McClure been?" And out of nowhere, he jumps in the chat and he says, "Hello, I've been traveling for the last 3 weeks. I land back home tonight around midnight. I will be here tomorrow morning and for the network show. In other words, the 10 o'clock show and the 2 o'clock show." That was impressive stuff. I didn't expect to see or hear from Mike until tomorrow, and he jumps in here like he saw the bat signal. He came in, he answered a question, and he probably rolls back out. Thanks for being in here while you're traveling, Mike. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. All right, let's get to the SportsLine play. Red Sox -1.5. We're going run line at plus 110. A's are throwing out JP Sears, and we got Nick Pivetta for the Red Sox. This is a 7:10 Eastern Standard Time game. Let me ask you this. I don't necessarily need an opinion on this game, Sniper, but we did talk about, I don't know that it was you specifically, it was either you or Larry Hartstein, because I think we talked about AL winners, and we were talking about some long shots, some short shots. I had the Orioles, but the Astros were mentioned by Propstarz. And somebody mentioned the Red Sox. Do you think the Red Sox are going to make a push here in the second half of the season? How do you feel? How are the vibes? Or do you think we're just seeing a hot streak that's going to kind of tail off as we get to game 100, 120, 140, and so on?
Yeah, it was Larry who took the Red Sox to win the AL. In terms of your question, I tend to fall on the latter side. I think they're just really hot right now. I don't think they're good enough to keep it up. I am very interested to see what they do in front of the trade deadline, because Craig Breslow, former relief pitcher, is now in charge of baseball operations. A player like that, a former player, instead of one of these, what I call a spreadsheet GM who never played the game and is more analytical in looking at the computer and projections and saying, hey, we're not good enough to keep this up. A former player is more apt to push all the chips to the center of the table and say, let's just go for it now that we're in it. They're only 3.5 games behind the Yankees. Believe that. I mean, after the Yankees were so far ahead of them a few weeks ago, they're 50-40 right now. I think they're going to go for it in front of the trade deadline. I don't think that the roster is good enough to keep this up, but hey, they're playing really good baseball right now.
Yeah, they certainly are playing very good baseball. Proppy, any comments on the Red Sox, this SportsLine pick, or your Astros play that you gave out on the network yesterday?
Nothing. I defer to Sniper. I really enjoy listening to Matt wax poetic anytime about baseball. I always feel like I learn a lot in the process, and I fully agree with his take regarding the Red Sox. I do think they're playing a little bit above their heads and expectations, and I expect a little bit of regression coming post All-Star break as well.
All right, we've got some picks in the chat. Bradley Jacobs says he's got a soccer pick. Sporting KC versus Dallas, both teams to score at -142. That's in the U.S. Open Cup. We've got Big Cheesy. He's got Bryce Harper over 1.5 total bases. Pivetta from Brandon Silva over 6.5 Ks. Plus matchup versus Oakland. Interesting here. Chris Thomas likes the Red Sox -2 instead of the 1.5. All right. Well, if you want to make any of those plays or any of the picks that we're about to give out or that we've given out, you can go to BetMGM. We've got a special soccer promo today, though. BetMGM has you covered when betting Euro 2024 and Copa America this week. BetMGM customers can receive 25% profit boost token on any straight play this week on any soccer match. Log into the BetMGM app for more offer details. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to get to way more baseball, and we're going to do it after this message from our partners. We are back on the Early Edge presented by BetMGM. We've got a WNBA pick in the chat. Rick Funcannon, Fever money line under 169. Love the WNBA stuff. All right, Proppy, let's go to a play on Charlie Morton. We're back in the MLB. What are we doing?
Let's do it, Sia. Yeah, I'm going to fade the ageless wonder, the pride of Flemington, New Jersey, one of my favorite baseball players of all time, Charlie Morton. We're going under 17.5 pitching outs. This is fewer than 6 innings. This is just a big number for Charlie Morton, who typically doesn't go pitch late into games, particularly at this stage of his career. I also think this is a very difficult matchup on the road against the Diamondbacks offense that has really come on strong lately. Look at this Diamondbacks offense, fully healthy. They've been producing after a slow start. Top 5 in nearly every offensive category, weighted on base, OPS since June 1st. This Diamondback offense has been excellent down the stretch. I think this is one of the tougher matchups for Charlie Morton, and I just think this line, frankly, should have been 15.5 or 16.5 at the most. So I do expect it to close at 16.5. Wouldn't shock me, frankly, if it closed at 15.5. Certainly trending in the direction where it's going to close at least 16.5. So let's fade Charlie Morton under 17.5 pitching outs, fewer than 6 innings pitched for the ageless wonder.
All right. If you're having trouble with math, Proppy just solved that equation for you. Less than 6 innings pitched. Cardinals money line game 1, says Ray Brown. Well, that's interesting because that's my pick, Ray Brown. Brian Smith, I think, is who picked it yesterday. And Ray Brown, these are very traditional names. I don't know if it's the same person, just typing in names to the chat. But either way, Ray Brown, Cardinals money line minus 130. Absolutely love it. Listen, this is one of those situations where I think that the Cardinals should be a bigger favorite here. We know the Kansas City Royals splits away from home in terms of how they score runs. It's not very good. It's not a very good look. In fact, I was talking to Mackenzie Brooks about that yesterday on the network show. And Palante is not a great pitcher by any means, but he's actually been pretty good in about 3 of his last 4 games, limiting runs. He does sometimes struggle with walks here and there, but overall, he's been very good. And Alec Marsh on the other side, not super impressive. Over his last 5-6 games, a few of those, he's really gotten touched up by bad teams that are not good in the hitting department. I'm not going first 5 here because even though I do like the pitching matchup, I also like the Cardinals bullpen, and I also like their bats way better than the Royals, especially given the Cardinals are at home and Royals on the road here. So I'm actually going full game here, Cardinals money line. This one starts at 145. Again, this is game 1 of a doubleheader with yesterday's game being postponed. Now, one thing to point out, it was Michael Wacha going yesterday. It's Alec Marsh going in the front end today. So the pitching matchup did switch for the Kansas City Royals, and I like it even better now. So give me the Cardinals money line minus 130. This is a game 1 play. Don't bet the wrong game. That one might win too, but game 1 is the play for my play. And by the way, David Talk says, I think that was the first, by the way, David Talk says, Sia, golf at 2:00 in the morning. And I think he's saying, hey, maybe you should be giving out some golf picks too, since when we're on the show tomorrow, most of the round will be done. Again, this is over in Scotland. There wasn't a play I was in love with, David, in terms of a round 1 matchup. I'm going to go back in and look at the 3 balls because initially I was just looking at the head-to-heads. I did have some leans. I leaned to Aaron Rai over Christian Bezuidenhout, but I don't love Aaron Rai's form at the Scottish Open, and I do think we might see some regression there, and the line seemed a little fishy, minus 120 over Christian Bezuidenhout at plus 100. A little fishy to me. I stayed off that one. One that I almost pulled the trigger on and that I might actually bet, Rory McIlroy, round 1 head-to-head, minus 135 against Tommy Fleetwood. It is not an official play yet, but I do like the play. I think Rory's going to come out firing. Fleetwood is good. He's steady, but I think Rory has way more upside in round 1 and in all rounds. So that is a look for me, but again, it's just a lean at this point. All right, Sniper, I've kept you quiet for way too long. Fortunately, you get to talk for a little bit because you not only have 1 pick, but you got 2.
Yeah, and they're both on the same game. So let's just go with an all Mets day. It's in honor of Jake, our producer, Mets fan. Look, the Mets offense has been one of the best in baseball against left-handed pitching this year. They're 3rd in weighted runs created plus. Plus it's Patrick Corbin day. So we get the best of both worlds here. Patrick Corbin with a 5.49 ERA. He is a favorite that we like to pick on here. He's left-hander. And the Mets faced him on June 5th and scored 6 runs in 5 1/3 innings against him. They scored 9 in that game. All we have to do is get over 4.5 in this one. Last 3 games, the Mets versus Patrick Corbin, he has a 10.80 ERA. A few guys have really torched him. Pete Alonso in his career against Corbin in 46 at-bats has 5 home runs with a 717 slugging percentage and 326 batting average. And the guy that I'm going to go to here for over 2.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs, Francisco Lindor in his career against Patrick Corbin, 41 at-bats, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 585 slugging, 317 average. Lindor is all kinds of locked in right now as well. In his last 43 games, he's hitting 317 with 57 hits, 33 runs, and 26 RBI. That's about 2.7 hits plus runs plus RBIs per game. That's a big sample. That's about where we need to be for this play. So I like the Mets over on the team total, and I like Francisco Lindor to make a lot of noise.
Let me ask you this, because somebody asked about the Mets team total over 5.5 at plus money, or like plus 104, plus 105. Is that where, because obviously they're just trying to take the juice out of the equation, but there's a big difference between 4.5 and 5.5. Would you consider maybe lowering the unit size and betting something like that? How would you handle that question?
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. I mean, I would much rather just get to 5 runs. As you said, it's a lot tougher proposition to get up to 6, but with the plus money there, I can see why it would be a little enticing. So yeah, I'd be good with that play.
And I'll say this, I'm not looking at it right now, but BetMGM probably has offerings of the flat 5. One thing I noticed about BetMGM when it comes to totals, and I believe this applies to team totals as well, and I could be wrong, but they're really good about kind of including the half run and just giving you a different price on each one. Where it usually gives you every single, like you can go 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, every single team, every single game. Right. And it'll give you the flat one too, where it'll give you the 4, 5, 6, 7. And so that's one thing I've noticed with totals when I see like a FanDuel or a DraftKings, and those are great books too. Sometimes with first 5 totals, things of that nature, they'll give you the 4.5 or the 5.5 or whatever it is. They're not going to give you the push number. BetMGM has that. And so that's something really to consider when you're considering, hey, 4.5, 5.5 is a pretty big difference there, but maybe I'll bet the 5 and put the push in play. Just again, BetMGM we're not just kind of promoting their promotional stuff. Like this is a very good sports book that offers things that some of the sports books, and I'm not casting shade on the other ones either. Like all sports book have their strengths and weaknesses, but BetMGM certainly has a lot of strengths. Big Cheesy says San Francisco money line. We've got a lot of picks in the chat. One I want to find, Martin, for you. There was somebody that asked, it might have been Jeff Stenberg, about Champions League. Any picks for, I think he said Champions League qualifying?
Haven't found anything I particularly like, to be honest, Sia. This is the very, very start of Champions League qualifying, when it's like the champions of the Faroe Islands taking on the sort of the runners-up from Belarus and stuff. So I kind of normally wait for a couple of rounds to play out, and then I get involved when some bigger teams are on. So I haven't found anything that particularly jumps out at me, and I'm sticking with those Euro and Copa games today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Bradley Jacobs said it best. He says, sometimes the best play is the one not made, and that is sage advice. So Martin's going to wait to see how things shake out the first few games, and then we'll take it from there. Kylie Reynolds says, Ludwig Aberg, top 20, easy money, he says. And we've got a pick from Brian Smith, who's back, Padres money line. So many picks in the chat. I can't get to all them. Big Cheesy, Bucks and over 1.5 total bases in game 1. Listen, we got some head nods from Sniper.
Well, and that's against Fetty. So I don't need you to go back to the well and make another reference that I don't get, because I usually get every single reference, and he lost me yesterday.
I lost myself. That was like one of my worst moments of all time. For those of you that, let me know if you saw that, if you watched the network show. My delivery was so poor. I'm actually like slightly embarrassed about that whole episode, but it was a Fetty Wap reference nonetheless, fading Eric Fetty Wap. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the recap screen. Let's see what picks we have. Let's try to have another winning day. I've got the Cardinals game 1. This one starts in a few hours. Cardinals money line minus 130. Again, game 1. Martin Green, Netherlands, England. Both teams to score at plus 105. Colombia, Uruguay. Both teams to score plus 105. Propstars, Charlie Morton under 17.5 outs at minus 115. And the Sniper, Mets team total over 4.5, minus 145. And Francisco Lindor over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs, plus 120. SportsLine pick, Red Sox run line, minus 1.5 at plus 110. All right. Danny Brasco's in the chat as well. dropping knowledge. Absolutely love it. You don't have too much time to ask him a question, but got about 30 seconds, folks. Well, that was a great show. We've got golf tonight starting at 2 in the morning. Maybe I'll put out a matchup on Twitter later today, but my article, my SportsLine article, if it's not already out, it'll be out within the next 30 minutes, 60 minutes. And I've got all my first round leaders. I've got some ISCO picks. You're going to want to watch the early wedge to catch all of my picks on all of the tournaments going on, plus Patrick McDonald and plus Eric Cohen. We have really been heating up in the golf streets. On behalf of Propstarz, the Sniper, and Martin Green, and of course, Mets fan Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. And on behalf of all of you in the chat, thanks for being in here. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for putting in all your picks. And thanks for asking all your questions. Let's have a great Wednesday. Let's have a great Wednesday leading in to a great Thursday. This is the Early Edge. I'm the Counselor of Cash, and we rest our case.